to a guy who owned a recording studio up in Washington while I was playing at Cascadas. And he sat in and listened to me play a couple nights and came over to me and goes, "Hey, have you ever recorded anything?" And I go, "No, never really thought about it." And he goes, "Well, if you ever decide to do it, I own a recording studio up in Washington. I'd love to record you." And a couple of years later, I decided to take him up on it. And my mom and I took a trip up there and spent a whole week actually recording, and we recorded a whole CD, and it's on Amazon and iTunes, I think, still. So
what's it called?
It's called Wave Dance.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Wesley, how old are you now? So we can kind of put all this into context of the things that you've done and are involved with.
I just turned 30 this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
You came to my 30th birthday party.
I remember that, actually. as I was saying that,
That was 16 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what are your plans with what you're doing right now down in Baja with your business? Is this what you're going to do the rest of your life? Is it solid and you're comfortable with it, or do you have aspirations of doing anything different?
Oh, all as any business, it kind of everything morphs a little bit and changes, and you take different little paths that you head down. Right now, kind of a cool thing that I've been doing is taking a lot more video and photography and video stuff, and I really enjoy putting it together and kind of finding ways that are really creative of putting it together. And so I've made some really cool videos lately of what we're doing down here, and just the coastlines and the fishing and all that. And
so how do we find those videos?
They're on YouTube. I got a YouTube channel. It's called Cabo Surf Caster. And yeah, same thing on Instagram or Facebook, but just recently started the YouTube channel with some of these videos, and ended up kind of catching the eye of some of the companies that I work with that sponsor me for gear, and had some really good conversations at the Fred Hall show this year with them, and maybe talked about getting actual contracts to do some of their video work and filming and advertising for some of their fishing products. So that's kind of a cool, like, little side business off of what I already do. And I really do enjoy the whole filming aspect of it. And I have a buddy down here who's really good at filming, so we got a couple cool trips planned that we want to do and film and kind of be able to put out there as some really cool little adventure trips.
So I think that it's interesting, Wes, that it's commonplace to you. You don't know any different, but people that have visited down there or would like to visit down into southern Baja, to hear you speaking about your life and what you do and what it was like growing up, sounds in some ways probably exotic to certain people, but just the fact that you grew up in a foreign country and have found a way to carve out a way to live down there and support your family. A lot of people find that fascinating and something that they wouldn't necessarily see themselves being able to do. Are there, again, I know it's hard for you because it's all you know, but and I mean, I could lead you on and ask you trick questions, but what are some things about, I know you went to school up in the United States for a little while, you went to Hawaii. What are the good and bad? We got people listening that want to hear more about Baja, and you're as embedded as it comes. What are some of the good things and the bad things about it? And when some advice you could share to people that would be interested in visiting?
I would say, well, I mean, the good things are obviously, just if you love the water and fishing and diving and all that kind of stuff that we've been talking about, it's one of the most amazing places to come and do it. It really is a safe place to get down here and be, I don't know, it's I don't know, like you said, this is what I've known. I'm raising my family down here, so I'm not worried about safety at all. You hear so much on the news kind of twisting everything to sound unsafe. So yeah, I would say like that's not really the case at all. Like you wouldn't, I don't know, those of us who live here don't ever worry about that. And so I don't know, as far as kind of where, like how I'd done my business and stuff, it was always with the idea in mind that I wanted to have time for my family and raising my family and the people around me, so that I could say, you know, I'll set this aside, and you know, if you need me to be somewhere, I can do that. I can be there, and being your own boss and having your own job like that that's one of the huge benefits of that. But that was always one of the main goals when I was thinking about how I was going to make a living, was trying not to limit myself too much by, you know, tying all my time down.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've done a good job of keeping a balance there. But I'm curious, are you booked solid and turning work away? Is it that good at this point, or could it be better, or have you found a place of equilibrium with that?
Yeah, I've actually there's been a decent amount of business that I don't work on Sundays, period, because we do church and stuff as family, and so you know I do get people who it's their last day of their trip and it's the only day they can go, and they'll pay you twice as much type of thing, and I just don't do it.
Good for you.
Just draw the line and say nope,
Yep.
that's not. But yeah, coming into the like from now into the summer months are probably my busiest time of year, and I actually during like the month of June I'll book morning and evening trips as well. So I'll do like 2 trips a day and have some time in between. But it does fill up so much so that there's just no more room for people to go.
So,
Yeah.
and I've mentioned a couple times that you're literally taking people in your front yard, and I'm assuming that a lot of the fishing you're doing is just right down out in front of the house. But are you going other places, or are you sticking pretty close to where you grew up?
We basically will pretty much fish. The Pacific side has been one of the main places we fish now, just because the Sea of Cortez is so built up now with resorts and stuff that you can't get to a lot of the good fishing spots. But we're pretty much fishing between Cabo and Todos Santos, depending on conditions and, you know, weather conditions, swell patterns, and water temperature and stuff. When you kind of factor some of those things in, it makes it a little bit easier to pick where you're going to be fishing. And when you're out there every day, you kind of know what the fish have been doing, which way they've been moving, which points they've been hanging off of, so you have a little bit more idea of where you're going to pick to fish the next day.
Wesley, how generous are you with sharing your knowledge? Are there places that you don't tell people about, or I mean, do you share everything you know, or do you keep some things to yourself?
It depends who I'm sharing with.
I wish I could say that you're sharing with hundreds of thousands of people on this podcast. I don't think that's the case yet, but if somebody wanted to go down and fish from the shore and wanted to try it on their own, do you give people advice as to where to go, or do you like them coming to you?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, because it is Baja, we do have the luxury of having all these fish are pretty much running the coastline at some point along all the beaches that, you know, people are staying at resorts, and you go out in front of your resort, you're going to have a decent chance of hooking up into something good. I mean, I can't tell you that just because you're fishing in front of your resort, you're not going to catch anything. I mean,
Sure.
there's fish all around. So
Yeah.
it's with a little luck, you'll probably get into them if you want to go out and do it on your own. My side of it is that, like I said, I'm out there every day. So then you kind of zone in on what's been happening and which fish you're targeting and know how they've been biting. So I don't know, even for myself, who grew up down here, knows how the fish works and the time of year and which beaches are good. If I get back from a trip, it takes me a couple days to figure out what I should be doing.
Right.
So I can just imagine people who don't know the area well, it's going to take them more than that
for sure
to figure out the good stuff. So that's where
Wesley, any just basic for the fisherman that's listening right now, and I'm sure there will be some. What is a trick, a method, something special that that you learned through growing up there? If I was going to come to Baja and throw a line off the shore, give me a tiny tidbit of something that I should know. I helped you learn how to surf, or tried years ago. Treat me like the novice fisherman that I am, and give me a tiny piece of advice.
Well, I would say, let's see, depending on the time of year you come down, if you're more in the summer months, then you're targeting bigger fish, and because of the type of bait that's coming through. So you're wanting to kind of match the kind of bait that's in the area at the time. So winter months and early spring, you're looking at sardines as your bait fish, your primary bait fish that everything's going after. And then during the summer months, like mid-May through July, August, is going to be all mullet. And the mullet are 12 inches long, and so it's a lot bigger bait fish. And so, just keep in mind, if you're hunting fish, so to speak, use the right bait. So you're, big lures in the summer months, smaller lures in the winter months, and then work the beaches. My thing is, if you don't know where the fish are, cast and walk. Cast a few times in one area, walk down 20 yards, cast a few times, move down the beach, and you cover more ground that way. So,
what about laws and rules? Are there some basic things? Do we need to worry about fishing licenses when you're fishing from the shore? What do we need to know about that?
Oh, good question. That's you don't have to have fishing license from the shore, so they don't require it yet.
And I know there's some fish that you're not supposed to catch, right?
From the shore, you're actually all good.
Really?
They don't have restrictions on species or size or really even limits. There's no one who polices that kind of stuff. Honestly, they might should.
Right.
But yeah,
I know was a big controversy. That's such a good tasting fish. Is it Tatuaba?
Yeah.
Is that a southern Baja fish or just a northern Baja fish?
It's actually more of a Cortez.
Okay.
More of a Sea of Cortez fish. It's just like a cousin of the white sea bass in California. It just gets bigger.
Gotcha.
And is a little more endangered.
Right. Well, we're coming up on the 30-minute mark here. There is definitely a question that we try to ask everybody that's on our podcast, and this will be good because we've gotten a lot of information about northern Baja spots, but we can't talk to a Baja expert without getting insight on the best taco in the region. So funny. So I've spent time up and down the peninsula, and my spot is still Lalo's Tacos at the top of La Rumorosa grade, which I don't know if you've ever been there before, but their tacos out of they're amazing. So Southern Baja, well, you've kind of been up and down the peninsula too, but I know you spend the majority of your time in Southern Baja. Where's the best taco?
So that's always like a question of controversy because you get jumped on by everyone. There's so many taco stands here in Cabo that it's I don't know. I end up there's Tacos Paisa is really good. They tend to be a little on the pricier side, but you go in there and the meat's really clean, no gristle, and then usually tastes really. I like their salsas a lot. They got some really good salsas, but then they have for seafood tacos, Tacos Claros is a really good one. I'm always like swinging in there for a quick lunch because they got really good shrimp tacos. They do smoked marlin tacos that are really good too, and yeah, they do a pretty good job with any of the fish taco type stuff.
All right, well there you have it. Tacos Paisa. Is there two of them still? There used to be. There was one, and then there was
Yeah, there's a bunch because they got a couple of them that tried to copy them, and they called them Los Paisas.